Just in case.
Just in case. Actually, let me title this. This is Hang with a Friend, right?
Yep.
Let me just save as with
Why not just
a
save as?
friend. Okay. Save as
Start
and
files. Start
as a
find
folder.
files or folders.
All
Save
right.
as.
Start by files. Save as. Okay, boom. All right, I'm good.
All right. Let's do it.
Okay, here we go. One, two, three, click.
Is it working
Sorry,
or no?
it's working. It's working. It's just it's got that thing where it's only hold on. It's like stops at 1 minute. Like it max. Sorry.
That's not good.
Ah, here we go. No, no, it's well. Let's see what happens when it gets to a minute. Because like the thing where you can drag it to stop.
Yep. Yep.
That's stuck at 1 minute, and I can't move it.
Okay. Let's see. We've got 19 seconds left till we find
19
out.
seconds. Let's just clap and see what happens.
Okay, great.
Okay. One, two, three, clap,
Clap. 1, 2, 3, clap.
clap.
Great.
Okay, it's moving.
Okay.
So
Moving and
if
recording.
anybody's watching on the YouTube, I just finally we're gonna talk about it in this episode, but I finally updated my computer. And so I got the newest version of GarageBand, and it's kind of acting a little weird.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So,
Yeah, when it's new, it takes a little bit
yep.
to
But
like
you're,
settle or something.
I know, but you're recording a bonus on this. So,
All right,
all right.
ready. You're listening to the Two Gomers podcast, a show about two regular guys in their 40s embracing midlife, chasing healthy aging, and inviting a nation along for the run. This is episode 389. Hang out with a friend for September 15th, 2023.
Welcome everybody to episode 389 of the Two Gomers podcast. This is Anthony speaking, one of those two aforementioned Gomers, coming to you from Atlanta, Georgia, with my friend Steven, all the way out in Flagstaff, Arizona.
Do you like my shirt?
I noticed it right away when we got up on Zoom.
Uh-huh.
You've got the Blockbuster t-shirt
Yep.
ready to go. We went to Blockbuster. We're going to talk about that on this episode. The last Blockbuster.
The last Blockbuster I went back and forth. I stood there at the rack looking at this beefy t-shirt.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
I mean, you can't blame them. You make a lot of t-shirts. Now they did have some softer tees,
Yeah.
but they didn't have the design I like. This is like the corner. What would you call this? The
The the
classic
the pocket
Blockbuster
square kind of
pocket square. Yeah, exactly. It's not an actual pocket square. It's like where the
right.
pocket square would be. That's where the logo is, and that's what I wanted. The other one said like little mottos and things like that. I wasn't as interested. And so I
Right.
just went with the beefy tee. Kind of feels like sandpaper.
Uh I know. See, what is the deal with that? And it's not just them. But
No.
although I feel like this is becoming fewer and far between,
Yeah.
where you go to get merch at like a
Right.
concert. Back in the day you would often have the kind of like the beefy tee, or if there's a free t-shirt for something, it was
Right.
the crispy, like at a race sometimes, but usually they're pretty good. But
Now the weird thing is I think beefy tee is coming back. I see because I mean the 90s are coming back.
I don't care about the fit of it.
I see.
It's the feel of it.
Yes,
You know what
definitely.
I mean?
I see what you
I,
mean.
I
Yep.
our demo, our key demo, this middle-aged demo.
Yep.
Although we have young people that listen to us, we have middle schoolers that listen to us.
Sure.
We have people
Brand new
above
middle
middle age.
schoolers.
Yep. So, but in general, like us, me and you,
Yeah.
a kind of slim fit t-shirt and a slim fit jean are
Yep.
are what's cool. And now our kids' generation is like baggy,
Beefy.
beefy. Yeah. So the thing is,
Mm.
well, I think in our we started wearing the tighter fitting stuff to be a
Yep.
little bit more flattering, maybe, but maybe it's not so much anymore.
Well, it's
I
got
don't
to be
know.
tight in certain. I mean, it's got to be tight in certain areas and loose
Right,
in others.
right,
I mean, at some point in your 20s, you're like, "Oh, tight works." Then when you're
right.
45, you're like, "Tight. I need a very specifically made T-shirt
Yeah.
that advertises to me that it's going
Yeah.
to be tight in just certain areas."
Yeah, yeah. And it says medium, but really it's a large, so you can be vain, just like Jerry Seinfeld with his jeans. He would
Right.
mark out like the Levi's, change the size on it.
Yep. So anyways, I am wearing the T-shirt. It's not as bad as I feared when I bought it. The
Yep.
fit is okay, but the
Yep.
feel is a little bit rough, I'd say.
Yeah. Well, I remember I Googled this a long time ago because Old Fashioned is one of our favorite restaurants in Madison, and they had a
Mm-hmm.
really cool T-shirt that I really liked, but it was the beefy tee,
Sure.
kind of like that,
Yep.
crispy.
Mm-hmm.
And I Googled, how to make a T-shirt feel soft and worn in, and it was something with rocks or baking soda and soak it, overnight, beat it. I don't know.
Want it softer? Beat it
Right. Well, it's
with
like,
rocks and baking soda.
well, it's the aging thing that they do on clothes,
Yeah.
in the movies. Like I was watching Partner to Field of Dreams,
Mm-hmm.
or another good example of perfect jean is Rudy. Those are two
Yeah.
guys, Kevin Costner and Rudy,
Right.
Samwise
Samwise
Gamgee.
Gamgee. You can really wear a
Uh,
jean.
they both have like the perfect Levi's that's got like the perfect wear on it.
Yep.
Uh, you can't buy it like that, you know.
No, you got to work hard. Rocks and baking soda.
Yeah, I know. So you
Beating.
get that beefy tee and those Levi's jeans. You either got to wear them for years,
Yep.
or maybe this rock technique. Maybe if somebody knows how to do that, send it to us.
I would say the best case scenario for a beefy tee is if you can find one at Goodwill because that's
Mm-hmm.
been worn in.
Sure.
It actually is kind of classic and vintage instead of being like pretend vintage like this one is. Um,
Right.
and then you can avoid the rocks and baking soda have been kind of done with time.
Yep. Yeah.
But that can be hard to find. Uh,
Sure. Well, this could have been the intro to the start small episode,
sure.
doing
Yep.
things small baby steps consistently. Like wear this horrible feeling shirt for 4 years almost
all
every
it
day.
takes
And
all it takes is a just from your freshman to senior year in high school, and then it will feel fine.
yeah. Well, dude, okay, so I have one shirt like that.
Uh-huh.
I think I still have it. It
Okay.
was a Wisconsin long sleeve t-shirt
Mm-hmm.
because we used to get
Okay.
them like 4 for $10 at the
Oh yeah.
bookstore,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Right.
And it was
University bookstore. Yep.
Yep. But it was gray,
Oh
and
yeah.
you wore it all the time through college. I have tons of pictures in it.
Red
And then
red print,
no gray with white,
white. Okay.
the
Yep.
print.
Mm-hmm.
And one summer I left it, literally left it in the yard for an entire summer. Like I forgot
Right.
about it. It was crumpled,
Mm-hmm.
so it got sun bleached, sort of like in a cool pattern. Somehow the fold actually works with the sun bleach.
Yeah.
And then I washed it, and
Uh-huh.
then it's the softest shirt I've ever had.
Well, there's the answer. You figured it out. Just forget it in your yard for 3 months.
Yeah. So it's become my pre-race. I'm sure I've worn it for races before.
I mean, I recognize what you're talking about. That shirt.
It's one of those that one day I will cast. Maybe if I ever were to do the New York City Marathon, that would be
Okay.
where I would sacrifice it.
Oh yeah.
'Cause you
Sure.
know how you can take a long sleeve shirt to a race,
Yeah.
and because it's cold, but then you're going to run, so you're going to sacrifice that shirt.
Yeah, that would be a proper death. This is what I wanted to happen to the Millennial Falcon in not the Millennial Falcon. What's that? That one is, I don't know. That one eats avocado toast. The only thing it serves inside a
Right.
Millennium Falcon in
Overnight
Predator
oats.
Rise of Skywalker. I wanted a proper death to that thing. That would be
Mm.
that would be the equivalent. You cast aside that
Yep.
precious weathered shirt and say
Mhm.
that's the proper death
Yep.
in a race.
Yep.
Well, anyway, this episode, this t-shirt that I'm wearing right now
Yep.
was purchased live and in person with Anthony.
Mhm.
And we had a great time together in Oregon. We recorded a live to tape episode for our 6.2 patrons on patreon.com/2gomers.
Mhm.
And then we thought, but we need to record an episode on the main feed. This was a
Yeah.
big deal.
It was a big deal. Haven't hung out in 18 months in person.
Right. And
And
so
we gotta talk about it.
yeah, and we actually there was a couple things we talked about while we were together that felt like, yeah, hanging out with a friend is actually good for our health, especially in this time of life, and we're not sure if many people do that.
Right.
And it was really great for us, and so we wanted to record an episode about that. So that's what we're going to talk about in the core. Hang out with a friend, how that's actually beneficial to your health. And mostly we just wanted to talk about it. How it's beneficial to our health, we texted about yesterday, kind of in desperation. How do we make this fit the podcast?
How is this relevant?
I
Oh,
actually
hold
think
on.
it is.
Hold on.
Okay.
What's your timer say?
11:07.
Okay, mine says 10:44.
Uh-oh.
So
Oh, that's
go
weird.
back to 10:40. It just
Did it?
stopped. It said the disc is too slow.
Uh-oh. Okay, I'm stopping. 10:44. What was I saying?
Yeah, what do you say at 10:44?
Oh, I was just saying that was really great for us. And we're going to talk about it in the core.
Okay. Okay, so go to 10:45. I'm glad I noticed it.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Hopefully that
dang
doesn't
it,
keep happening.
yeah, I hope not. Sorry.
No problem.
Okay, let's go to
10:45.
Luckily, you're recording also.
Yep.
Okay, 10:40, 10:45 even.
Yep. I'm right there.
Okay. All right. It won't friggin' line up. This new thing sucks. All right. Sorry.
Yep.
All right, here we go. Ready?
Yep.
Okay. 1, 2, 3, click. 1, 2, 3, clap.
Clap. 1, 2, 3, clap.
Clap.
So that's what we're going to talk about in the core.
Yep.
We're going to talk about how hanging out with a friend was great for us. Mostly we just wanted to talk about that, honestly. And then we texted desperately yesterday about like, how can we make this fit in the health podcast? And so we're going to do that. I think there are ways.
Having healthy friendships is super important to your health, dude.
Oh yeah, especially when you're in midlife.
100%. You got to talk about stuff.
Yep.
Got to see each other, all that.
So first we're going to do, of course, baby step of the week. Then we're going to go to the core, take a deeper look at that. And then we're going to end with what's giving us life this week, just like every week, and a ton of fun stuff along the way. But first, here on the Two Gomers podcast, we have big goals. We want to chase healthy aging, but we know that reaching those starts small. So this is baby step of the week.
Nice. All right, let's clap.
Okay.
1, 2, 3, clap.
Clap. 1, 2, 3, clap.
Clap. All right, here we are in baby step of the week. And Steven, do you have a baby step that you'd like to share today?
Sure. Small step, and it's actually we've talked about it several times, but sometimes when you do it, you want to say you did it, right?
Yep.
So we've talked about breathing,
Yep.
how healthy that can be.
Yeah.
Um, and so I had a breathing episode. That sounds worse than it is.
Oh,
I had a
interesting.
chance to do this baby step, and I managed to remember to do it, and I wanted to talk about it. So I had a
Okay.
difficult conversation coming up.
Okay.
I knew it was going to be pretty rough. It was just kind of like I wasn't looking forward to it. I knew I had to say some things and press into some things with a person. Um, and I was stressing out about that. You know how it is?
I
Like
know very well, bro.
you
Yep.
play it over and over in your mind. You do that like,
Uh,
well, if they say this, I'll say this. But then if they say this, and you have like this, I
yep.
don't know what you would call it, like this conversation tree happening in your mind.
Yeah, you're rehearsing.
Yep, that's right. Pre-hearsing.
Yeah. The rehearsal before the rehearsal.
Right. And
Yep.
so it's about 5 minutes before I'm supposed to get on Zoom, which is,
Yep.
I mean, the best place to have a difficult conversation with someone.
Yeah, because all you have to do is hit Command Q and you're out of there. You can just close your laptop.
Exactly. Yep. Now there's no way to like hang up really hard. Is this a Seinfeld bit that I'm doing
Yeah,
right
this
now?
yeah, but he does the flick, he's like, and that's that, and he flicks the phone. Yeah.
Yep,
Like, yep.
yes. You no longer have that like slam. And
Right.
certainly
Yep.
on Zoom, it's like, oh man, I'm mad. Okay, click close.
I know, and then
Then
you're still
then
there.
leave conversation. You're just standing there
Right.
looking at one another. That's the worst.
Right, right. Is
Um,
this over yet? Is it
so I
still
certainly,
recording?
yeah, I didn't want that to happen. I mean, it's with somebody that we really care about each other and respect each other, but we knew this was coming. And so I'm 5 minutes in, feeling stressed out about it. And I remember, oh, you taught me this on the podcast. You breathe in for, is it 8 beats? This is what I did anyways. I breathed in for 8 beats.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it was four. I can't remember.
I have
Which is
4.
eight and which is four. So I think it's breathe in for four, right? And then breathe in a little bit more even.
Yes. Yes.
And then you let it out slowly for 8. That's what I did
Mm-hmm.
anyway.
Mm.
I did it. I did it purposefully to center myself, to kind of speak life into myself. This is going to be okay.
Yep.
Trust in the relationship. Just do healthy things for 5 minutes while breathing deeply. Good
Mm.
self talk, good reminders to myself, remembering my own identity and the identity of that other person as people made in the image of God, right? And
Yep.
not
Yep.
the monsters maybe that we can create when we have those conversation tree things, the pre-rehearsal.
Those
And
those
dude,
caricatures.
right, I just went in way calmer,
Mm.
way more in control of myself, my own. You can't control the other person, but control of myself, my own emotions. It
Yep.
was a great conversation. I think it probably would have been fine,
Yeah.
but with that just beat, taking the beat, that baby step, that small 5 minutes thing, it was not fine. It was good. And so
That's
it,
awesome.
it was, I appreciate the ways that you helped me learn how to breathe a little bit better. And I don't remember what episode it was, but it was
I
early in
don't
the Two
remember
Gomers
either.
podcast iteration where we were
Mm.
talking about breathing, and we did that together. So I did it. Sometimes you do it and you're like, I did it. And because we have a podcast where we get to talk about how we did it, I figured I'd talk about it.
Yes. That's awesome, dude.
Yeah,
It's usually the thing of just do what you know.
it's
You
almost
know,
always that, right?
and it's like and which is why my word for the year is remember, because I usually forget.
For
So
sure.
it's fun. Like the algorithm reminded me of this breathing technique, I think yesterday on Instagram.
Oh, okay.
That video played for me again. And
Okay.
so it's like it must be in the air that we're breathing.
It must be.
Uh but it's there's this great line from Pete Scazzaro in Emotionally Healthy Spirituality where he says
Hmm.
your body is a major prophet, not a minor prophet,
Okay.
meaning when your body is anxious,
Mm-hmm.
it's speaking to you.
Yeah.
You know, when your when your heart rate is elevated, when you feel it. For me, it's in my hands. Like I've
Mm-hmm.
told you
Right.
that.
Mm-hmm.
And so it is speaking. Sometimes you don't even know it, but so it's like, listen to that.
Yep.
And so that's amazing that you heard it.
Mm-hmm.
And then you responded, dang it, now I'm getting anxious. Now
Yeah. Everybody, if you're feeling anxious, if anything I just said made you worried about a conversation, you have to have just take a little second and breathe.
what was it that we talked about then? Just kidding.
What
Like, just like the
No,
conversation was us.
you're freaking me out. All right.
No,
Did you have a
I'm just
baby
kidding.
step?
Yeah. Okay, so I have a follow-up also to the unpack.
Oh,
Here,
okay,
I'm
great.
gonna edit that. That was super dumb. I was thinking that was gonna be a funny button,
I
but
don't,
it
I
was
don't know if
not.
I understood it. I didn't get it. Shoot. Sorry.
What I was saying, you were like, you were like building up to this, really hard conversation,
Uh-huh.
and then I was like, so what did we talk about?
I see.
Like it was us, but that was dumb.
Okay. Yeah, you
Sorry.
can cut it. I cut stuff all the time that doesn't land.
Yeah. So where were we?
I just asked if you had a baby step.
Right. Yeah, but I came in with that dumb flat joke. Just finish what you were saying again, and I'll sort of like,
Okay. All right. So maybe I'll just say, okay, here we go.
oh, if you're feeling anxious, breathe.
Yep. So if you're feeling anxious, just breathe. Remind
Yes.
yourself of some truths. Take that baby step.
Yes. Okay, that's awesome, dude.
All right,
All right,
Anthony, do you have one?
Yes, sir. Okay, so this is a follow up to the clean, unpack thing,
I love
and this is
follow-ups.
gonna lead right up to hang with a friend.
Okay, great.
So I was living at that house for 2.5, 2+ weeks out in Sun River that you came to visit.
Yep.
And I don't know what people do when they're on a long work trip and staying in the same place for, a couple days or a week or something like that.
Right.
If you unpack, if you live out of your suitcase, if you just kind of let yourself go and just let everything go all over the place,
Let
I don't know, what do you do?
I
I'm sure you keep it organized.
Well, if like I do, so what I do is I mean, if we're in a hotel, I'm taking clothes out of the suitcase. Well,
Right.
it depends on how long I'm going to be there. 2.5 weeks, I'd probably put it in drawers.
Okay. Yeah.
I will, but if it's a couple days, I'll just take clothes out, wear them, and then I'll put them in I always bring a grocery bag,
Oh.
and I'll put the dirty
Okay.
clothes in that grocery bag,
Yeah.
as like a hamper, and put that in a drawer or to the side or something like that. Or else I'm throwing those clothes every which way.
Right. See, hotels can end up that way.
Oh yeah.
Where there's just stuff everywhere.
Yep.
And so the baby step that I took this year better than ever was before you came and visited. So I had been staying at this place for about a week.
Right.
I like cleaned up all my stuff. I cleaned up the house.
Yeah.
I organized my things. And so then for the next week plus, I was so organized and put together for the remainder of my trip.
Yeah.
And I really want to start that baby step every time I take a trip from now on.
Okay.
Whereas my tendency is, like, I'll usually have some read stuff. It's just scattered about on a table.
Right.
I mean, my read tools explode. Then my computer stuff explodes, and I've got books,
all the
and
wires.
journals,
Yeah.
wires. Right. Yeah. And it's unsightly, but you're like, oh, I'm on a trip. Who cares?
Yeah. Right.
But I wanted it to look nice for when you arrived and for when the Myers arrived. And
so maybe the tip there is, like mid-trip, have somebody come and visit you.
Yeah, well, that's part of the tip, I guess.
Yeah.
The other tip, maybe, like, why not organize stuff for yourself instead of others?
Yeah.
Like, why can't it be nice just for me?
Well, yeah. So for me, because I'm a high J, that is helpful for my health to be organized and not be
Yeah.
messy all the time. Like it actually
Yeah.
helps me function.
Hmm.
So it's not even an aesthetic thing. It's like a function productivity thing where I just
Sure.
work better when it's clean. Um, but yeah, I don't know. But there are certain times. I mean, certainly Jessica and I have talked about this before. If we have like a steady uh schedule of hosting people, we're
Yeah.
much more likely to clean the house regularly.
Yeah. This actually does fit into, you could apply this that same way, which
Yep.
is you're going to host people and you
Mm-hmm.
do a special cleaning of your house
Yep.
for other people.
Yeah.
Why don't you do that special cleaning just to enjoy it?
For me,
For me, for us, for my
Jessica,
family.
why can't you just clean the house for me? Should I say that to her?
Yeah, that would probably not go over
She'd
well
love
too.
that.
Yeah, you might be cleaning the house yourself, dude.
And make me a sandwich while you're at it.
Right.
She would just
Yep.
like kill me with if looks could kill.
It looks, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, it's a good thing to think about it. I think when you travel in particular, you're like, it's harder because it truly is for me, right? You're
Hmm.
not surrounded by other people that, well, unless you're in a situation like you are where you had midway through, you had somebody come. Sounds great.
Right. So it's like, let's clean it up. And then
Uh-huh.
now I just want to start doing that immediately. Like when I did the unpacking immediately,
Yeah.
and Erin was laughing when she listened to that episode because if you remember, she was actually the
It
one
was
that
actually
unpacked my
her.
suitcase.
Right.
Um, so, um,
Yeah,
yeah,
I think sometime we should dig in more to like how organization and cleanliness is actually helpful and healthy. I'm reticent to do that because that might be a personal thing and it might be different for everybody, but
yeah.
there's something there.
Well, I think that is a person by person thing,
Yeah. Yep.
100%. Because we can all function in different levels of dysfunction, of
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're right.
disorganization, and I don't care about certain, like, I mean, like my desk is a mess. I'm not even looking at it. I don't care.
Right. Yep.
Uh, I will say though, when I pull up to a clean desk with just my podcast notes, that does feel pretty nice. So maybe that'll
That's
be a
right.
future baby step. Maybe it will be. I mean,
Well, then
I just had these overnight oats. Speaking of Millennial Falcon, here's that.
overnight oats for sure. Han
Yeah.
Solo would eat those on the Millennial Falcon.
But I
I
mean,
was just
that's,
gonna say
I
that
should have
there's
thrown
like
that away.
there's all these art you can find anything online that's like actually messy is good and you're
Messy. Well, yeah,
smarter if you're a mess.
right. Genius is messy, right?
Right. Yep. So that's why I'm like, maybe it's just like person by person. Who knows?
Well, I mean, there was a time where I had our bassoon section over a couple years ago, and
Uh-huh.
my desk was spick and span,
Yeah.
and they're like, "Yeah, right." You know what I
Well,
mean?
that's
Like
the other
you
thing.
you could tell. It's like when you're making reads all the time, it's a mess.
Well, I wasn't gonna say this, but that is kind of how I felt like when I came to the house and it was so clean. I was like,
Exactly. That's
I
a
bet he cleaned it because I was coming.
exactly, dude. But the point is, it felt so good
And
to
what do I care? Great. I
mid
actually felt
trip.
blessed by that.
Well, yeah, and like that's also showing intentionality and love for
Yeah,
the person that's coming, right? That's showing good hospitality.
I
It's,
agree.
it's actually not always just trying to prove that you're a clean person or perfect or something like that. You're
Mhm.
also, you're like, see, in your case, maybe you actually, that felt good because it was like, I know Anthony's not like that,
I felt
and he,
cared for. Honestly, I
okay,
did. I was
there,
like, looks great in here.
sweet,
And I know that like the read making process, just that, take everything else out, is
yeah,
whenever I've seen you take pictures of that on Instagram, looks like something exploded.
yeah. And then I have that sign you painted for me that says Shalom right over the top of this
kind
mess.
of kind of like just an eye line so that you can, if you don't want to keep looking down at that, you can look up.
Right. Shalom
It's good. Yeah.
in the chaos. Yeah.
Okay, we've already been talking about being together.
Yep.
I think we should head into the core and talk about how hanging out with a friend can be good for your health. Let's do it.
Great.
All
All
right.
right, let's clap. 1, 2, 3, clap,
Clap. 1, 2, 3, clap.
clap. Right. Hey, how's it going over there? Can't wait to hear a little bit more about your time together. Sounds like you had a total blast, dudes.
I mean, we invited Dr. Knutson, but he was busy doing whatever
Didn't show
doctoring
up.
he was doing. Yeah. He was kind of like, well, if I can make the time,
Like a
but
Nikki.
yeah, I'll just show up, but he never did.
Yep.
Okay. Hang out with a friend. Why did we choose this? We chose this because we just did it
Yep.
and we had a blast.
Totally. We got to talk about it. We got to debrief.
Yep.
We did a live debrief.
Yeah.
Which we said you can check out on patreon.com/2gomers.
Yep.
Went to Blockbuster, all that stuff.
Also available on
hike.
Patreon, depending on what level you give.
Oh, yeah. Bonus. We actually went to the last Blockbuster and recorded a live 10-minute episode inside the last Blockbuster ever.
Mostly looking at movie covers and reading the names to one another.
Yep. And just discussing the tactile feel.
Oh, yeah.
Of picking up a DVD, like how much better that tactile feel of, I want to watch a movie tonight.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pick it up, I'm gonna look at the box.
Yeah,
it's so great. I mean, kids these days don't have that.
I mean, get off my lawn and into a Blockbuster, says I.
Yeah.
We were talking, and I think I actually didn't re-listen to it.
I didn't
so
either.
I can't remember what we said. I just posted it.
Mm-hmm.
We were talking about like scrolling on Netflix, those thumbnails just does not and will never compare to standing there in Blockbuster and seeing it all stretched out down that aisle. The possibilities.
Yeah. I mean, the scrolling is the infinity pool.
Yep.
And here you're actually able to pick things up, look at it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like, if my girls could, if you were to look at what they watch on YouTube and but put it in a Blockbuster lineup, it would be Dude Perfect.
Yeah.
Videos over and over and over again. Tic Tac Toy.
Right.
Bluey.
You talked about that. Yeah. Bluey. Right. Lots of Bluey.
So like they don't even have that I don't know, that concept. I mean, they know what it is. We have some Blu-rays, but that idea of, I want to watch something and I need to pick it up and put it in,
right,
wait for it to load. It might be scratched and might have to skip, might have to
blow on it.
Yeah, open the box and it's not there because it's in a wallet somewhere.
Yeah, if it's like, depending on the scratch level, you might have to rub it with your shirt. And if you're wearing a beefy tee, that's going to make it even worse.
Yeah, you're basically wearing a Brillo pad, dude.
Yep. Well, speaking of tactile, I think that's one of the things that was so great about hanging. We haven't had that tactile in person with each other for 18 months.
Yeah, right.
And so not only was Blockbuster cool because it was tactile and you could feel it,
mm-hmm.
so was our visit together.
So was seeing each other in person.
Yep.
First time I got to see your long hair in person. Looks super sweet.
It does seem to be so I do meet on Zoom a lot, as I spoke about before. It does seem like a different thing for people when they see me in person with the long hair.
Sure. It's kind of the Simpsons thing where you're in 3D.
Right.
Like you never saw the back of Homer's head or what Bart looks like from the side.
Yeah, or like a walk around character at Disney, right? Where you're like, wow, I can see the back of Minnie's head, and I never see the back of this person's head, right? Like, so it was that. And so like being in person, there's just a different feel. We did feel each other. We hugged and slapped each other's backs.
Mm-hmm.
That was nice.
Mm-hmm. Super nice, dude.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not just talking about the tactile touch. There's something about being with each other in a room. And you said this thing on our hike and then reminded me of it yesterday on the text, that it felt like a respite.
Mm.
Is specifically, and this is where the middle age thing comes in, I think, a respite in the very certain time of life which we are in, which is you used this high mileage terminology. Like
Yeah.
we have some high mileage years that we're in right now.
Right. So I was talking to, I think we talked about this on the 6.2 ep. We re-recorded the one that we deleted or accidentally didn't record. Uh,
Right. Yep. Sorry. Sorry,
no
everyone.
problem. And but let me retell it just in case. I can't remember if it actually made it on tape, but it was important
Mm-hmm.
concept for me, which was I was talking to our car repair person and his wife.
Uh-huh.
And she's actually older than he is.
Yeah.
And she said, I'm older than he is by 5 years, but like he likes to say, he's got higher mileage.
Mm.
And
Right.
it's kind of a car joke.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, and it's
You know,
only it's a joke only a mechanic can make.
right.
Yeah.
But
But also Indiana Jones says it.
yeah, so you said that, and then I actually looked it up, and there it was. So I'll plop the clip in.
Yep. I think it's from it's and the funny thing is it's not from one of these I'm old Indiana Jones movies. I think it's from
Uh-huh.
Raiders, isn't it?
Yeah, it's from, I believe, when they're on the ship, on the boat. Like it's
Oh, I
the
see.
mirror scene,
Yep.
I think.
Yeah, and he says it to her, right? Like it's not the years, it's the mileage or something.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I guess I'm not quite sure what he means.
He's
What
been
does
through a
Indiana
lot.
Jones mean? Is that what he means? He's been through a lot. It's not just that he has gotten older, but he's
Right.
been through a lot. Is that what he
Yes.
means? Okay. All
Yeah,
right.
so there's Aaron and I have been talking about this concept ever since.
Okay.
Like trying to like put we're part of this iteration of the podcast is trying to figure out middle age and trying to figure out
Mm-hmm.
how like why this time seems so dense and intense,
Yep. Yep.
but also so fast and fleeting, and like a
Mm-hmm.
year is as a day, is as 1,000 years, like it
And
just.
sometimes a day is as a year,
And yeah, so what is it,
right?
the days are long, the years are short.
Yeah. Yep.
uh so they're dense. And
Uh-huh.
so the other kind of car analogy to go with it is my grandma had a Buick LeSabre,
Okay. Which
and
grandma
it
is this?
had
Churchill?
this is Grandma Georgeson, Grandma
Okay.
Ava.
Okay.
And it was probably, let's say it was 20 years old, and it was literally that car. I'm
Mm-hmm.
using this twice now in this episode.
Yeah.
That I'm saying this because that's what she would say. An old lady drove to church every Sunday, and that's all she ever really did, and the grocery store.
Interesting. I think that's pretty similar to my grandma.
Okay.
She had I don't know that it was a Buick, Mom, you can remind me, but it was a station wagon.
Uh-huh.
And I would say she used it to go to church and go to the grocery store. That's about it.
Okay. Food for the soul, food for the stomach.
The body. Yeah.
Bread and
Uh,
wine.
yeah.
Uh, and wine.
Uh-huh.
But that car was an old car with low mileage.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Yep.
You get it?
Mm-hmm.
Not do you get it? That was very condescending. That make
I get it. But I feel like I have like newer cars and we drive them so much. High
So that's what I
mileage.
mean.
Yep.
So it's not the years, it's the mileage.
Okay. Now there are cars that are old with high mileage, and that's how I currently feel.
Well, no, but yeah.
I guess I'm
We're
45. I'm not old. We're middle age.
No, yeah, you're
But
mid, dude.
we feel, and I think this is what we were talking about. We feel like our lives are so full. Dense is actually a great way to put it.
Mm.
Uh, and so when we got together, it felt like we had so much to talk about, so much to unpack, and we did, but probably didn't even get to half of what we wanted to talk about. Did it stop?
It was right there. That was my bad. My AirPod fell out.
Okay,
Sorry.
I'll stop.
Go to 37:13. Sorry.
37:13. Okay. Can we
Okay.
go 14?
Yep.
And then I can just keep saying what I was saying.
Yep. Sorry.
What I said was didn't even get, and then I'm going to finish with to half of what we
Okay.
wanted to.
Awesome. All right, let's click there. 37:13 or 14.
Got it.
1, 2, 3, click. Let's still clap.
Okay.
1, 2, 3, clap.
Clap. 1, 2, 3, clap.
Clap. Okay.
To half of what we wanted to talk about, but
You say didn't even get to, just it'll be easier to edit.
didn't even get to half of what we wanted to talk about because
Yep.
our lives are so high mileage right now.
Yeah. You,
And
you
so
can only talk about the this part of it. Like, there's too many things. Like
yeah,
we should have made a conversation to-do list or something. Like all the
right. Well, and we would try that.
subjects.
Like sometimes you would say, okay, we can't remember. We need to talk about that, and that because we had gotten there sort of, you know what I mean? Like, don't forget we need
Yeah.
to talk about this, and this, and then we would sometimes get there. And so the respite, the healthy respite, I think, was needed and is needed. I think that's the pitch probably of this episode. You need to hang out with your friends in person once in a while because there's a different respite that happens in the high mileage years when that happens.
Yeah, and I think the main difference is there's a friend that coined this phrase, the fringe hours,
Okay.
and Jessica Shim Turner was her name, and I think she has a book called The Fringe Hours or something like that.
Oh, okay.
But we were able to hang out not just on Zoom for 2 hours, or not
Mm-hmm.
just on the phone while you're driving someplace or while I'm driving someplace,
Yes.
or send a silly meme or a text.
Mm-hmm.
But fringe hour chat is like when you get down to like the good stuff. Like
Yep.
you're able to be bored for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Like there were times where we were just driving, just listening to John Denver,
Yeah.
or to nothing,
Yeah.
or it lets it settle more.
Yeah. That's a good
I don't
word.
know.
Well, and I think this reminds me of what was particularly hard about student ministry in the pandemic, which was we could do things on Zoom together.
Mm.
We would try to
Yep.
have Bible studies and large group meetings and stuff like that on Zoom. And then it'd be like 8:30, bye. And
Yeah.
that silence descends. But when
Yeah.
when you're with students like I was last Thursday and I spoke, and then the meeting's
Yeah.
done at 8:30, that's not when it ends.
Right.
That part ends. But the
Yep.
good stuff happens when I'm interacting with students afterwards. What stood out to you about that? Or
Yeah.
what are you off to now? How has the semester been? There's that fringe in-person connection that just doesn't happen when you're not doing that. Now, I don't think it's impossible. I think you can have long phone calls. I have friends and relatives and in-laws that I talk to on the phone, and we just talk for a while, and that's great.
Yep.
But there's
Mhm.
something different about being in person.
Yes, because there's also a mobile component, like a walk and talk.
Yep,
We walked and talked, we hiked
we
and
did.
talked for
We hiked and talked.
a long time.
Yep.
And there's something about moving through physical space that we've talked about for 15 years now with
Yeah.
running and with racing, which
Yep.
is your heart's moving and you're looking around,
Mm-hmm.
and that's just different than talking on the phone or talking over Zoom.
Yep. The, there's also like the eat and talk.
Totally. I mean,
That
well, yeah. So, I mean, do you want to go over a little bit of the itinerary?
Well, I have a
You want?
list of things we did, and hike was
Okay.
kind of at the top one, kind of like
Yeah.
so I didn't chronologize them.
Okay.
Um, but we got together. I got there.
Yep.
Now, all of this was also in the middle of this incredible thing I did, which was I drove by myself all the way from border to border, basically down the west. And
Yeah,
so
that's
that
pretty
can be a
sweet.
different episode. That was also very refreshing and a respite of its own. But
Yeah.
I arrived, we hugged it out.
Yep.
I ate a sandwich. I mean,
Yeah.
almost
Well, okay.
immediately I ate a
Ooh,
sandwich.
I want some of that barbecue chicken. That would be another Gomer sip that maybe I did talk about, but I bought a bunch of chicken and a bunch of
Yeah.
salad
Yep.
kits and ate
Mm-hmm.
those and was very quite healthy. Uh but the funny thing is you texted me
Uh-huh.
because I was like, bro, I have to leave for my concert. It was either 5:45 or 6:15, I can't remember.
Yeah.
Uh and so you texted me and you're like, I'm gonna be there. Basically it was like 20 minutes before we needed to leave, which is perfect.
Yeah. Yep.
Totally great. And you had all your car stuff you had to deal with,
Mm-hmm.
and we were like, is it going to happen, or are you just going to meet me at my concert?
Right.
Now meanwhile you're like, okay, I'm actually going to be an hour later than I thought, but I'm still going to
Mm-hmm.
be within the window. So
Yep.
I'm like, yes, one more hour to clean this place up.
Well, that was I'm glad I could do you that favor.
Well, but then I squeezed in like an extra walk, probably
Sure.
scraped in a reed,
Yep.
all that kind of stuff, uh, set up so that I wouldn't have to worry about
Yeah.
that crap for when you got there. But then you got there, I told you I had those kimchi pickles
Yeah.
and barbecue chicken and
Yeah.
stuff. So you made yourself a sandwich.
Actually, it was like I availed myself to lots of things. You had little street tacos.
Oh, right. It wasn't a sandwich. You're right.
I did a little Gomer's tip I've never given, which is I put those into a toaster.
I saw that. That was amazing.
So you fold them like a taco, right? Street
Corn
tacos are
tortillas.
corn tortillas, right? Small ones. I folded it into a, not folded, not creased, I should say. Like
Right.
set it in loosely into the toaster. Toasted them. They get a nice brown on them, and they have a little bit of a form function then. And then I
Mm-hmm.
put some of that chicken, kimchi pickles, and barbecue sauce. I mean, I don't even know what that is, but I just was like taking what was there.
Yeah, ingredients and just throwing them together.
And I've got news for you, nation. It was so good.
Sometimes that in-person random food just hits hard, especially when you're hungry and you're
Yep.
laughing.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
That's what I mean. Like you're that's not gonna happen on friggin' Zoom.
Yeah, so that's what it was. It was like a mystery box of ingredients,
Yep.
and we're gonna laugh while putting it together. And I'm, getting ready for the concert, getting my tux on and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You're in the other room, just being alive. We're
Yes.
like we're both alive physically in the same sphere. It's just weird and fun, and especially
Yeah.
for essentially virtual friends. Like we're gonna be, maybe part of that is like just we are virtual friends for the rest of our lives, and I'm sure many people can relate to that.
Oh yeah.
Their best
Yep.
friends live all over the world
Mm-hmm.
now.
Yeah. That's a
Um,
part of living in the 21st century for sure.
yep. And so to be in physical space, I just think it's important. But it kind of renews
Uh-huh.
the hilarity. You're gonna get a ton of new folklore,
Yep.
and then you got to once again. So this is an experience I have yet to have, dude.
Mm.
Which is to see you in your professional working environment.
Yes.
I have
So
never seen professional Steven.
yeah. I mean, you have again on video, right? So
Right.
you'll see me. So here's the thing. I've seen you even live, I've seen you play before. But
Mhm.
something special this time, which was on the way to the concert hall, we picked up some of your
Oh,
co-laborers and friends,
yep.
YY and Sai Sai,
Yep.
who, dude, we should put the clip of them as the opener of the episode. So
Oh,
you've
great
already
idea.
heard them talking to us about
Great.
Gomer, right?
Yep. Uh-huh.
So I met with them, laughed, so fun.
Yep.
So this is like I can watch you on the Today Show or whatever playing your bassoon. But because I was there with you live, and this is why I'd like you to experience this with me sometime live, is that it's not just watching you or me perform
Yeah.
professionally, it's being being welcomed into that part of your life was really cool.
Mm.
Meeting coworkers, knowing more than just you on the stage,
Yeah.
being able
Oh
to
yeah.
listen to different, like, okay, now I have a connection with a clarinetist,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
That's cool. And then coming up on stage afterwards and seeing everybody put their instruments away and
Yeah.
then eating Papa Murphy's pizza afterwards. So it
Oh
was cool
yeah.
to see you play professionally. It always is. But I felt kind of a part of that differently this time, which was cool.
Sure. See, this is what I want to see you in those fringe hours with the students,
Mm-hmm.
because I'll be like, dude, that sermon was awesome, and I'll
Mm-hmm.
just watch people,
Mm-hmm.
and you interact and see you in the zone. Um, yeah, I
Yeah.
really want to do that.
Okay. Yeah. Someday. I mean, you should come to a next time I speak at my fall conference. Maybe you should just come out.
Ooh, yeah, that'd be
It might
sweet.
be tricky time wise, but I think that probably would be really fun. Um, so we did that night,
Yeah.
and then the next day was hike day.
Uh-huh. So we're grown-ups, dude,
Oh man, we
right?
are midlife grown-ups,
We're well,
adults.
yep. So where I was going with that, because you could go any number of directions.
Sure.
Where I was going with that is we went to bed early,
Oh, I see.
right? Like
Yeah.
this
Well,
this is different than college. It would have been we would have stayed up till 2 knowing we need to get up super early to go for a hike. Felt horrid.
no, we know ourselves better than that now.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Got packed up, prepped up, all that stuff.
Yep.
Uh so I was proud of that.
Mm-hmm.
It was
And
kind of hot, but we cracked those windows. You had you we found another fan because I had a fan.
I needed a fan.
Yeah.
We may be grown-ups,
Yeah.
but we still need white noise even to be able to function in
Right.
sleep.
Yep, that's right.
So where's my physical fan?
Yep.
I am
Yep.
not tricked by a white noise machine.
Yeah. It
And
can
luckily
work.
there was one in the closet there and it was perfect, bro.
Okay, good. Yeah, I'm super glad. So I was like, I don't know if that room has a fan or not.
Yeah. And if
Thankfully, it
people
did.
want to hear more of the intricacies of what was happening, and then I think the hike itself, we can probably talk about briefly because people who
Yeah.
support us at 6.2 have already heard about that. But
Yep.
it was great, like you said, to walk and talk, be curious about each other's lives,
Mm-hmm.
listen well, I think.
Yeah. So what I really like Aaron and I talked to each other like, what do you talk about with Steven today?
Mm-hmm.
What do you guys chat about? And there's always 10 things that we didn't get to.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to talk much more in depth about your kids. I wanted to
Yeah.
hear more about Jack and Noah's story,
Mm-hmm.
uh more the story of a kid going to college, because like we only have so much time when we're
Right.
talking on the phone, and a lot of times we're talking about podcast stuff,
Uh-huh.
talking I mean
Talking about work.
we're talking about work and just trying to get over our own lives and our own stuff, right? Like coaching each other and encouraging each other through that. So it was cool to get to the next level deeper,
Yeah.
you know.
Yep. It
So that was great.
was. And I think one tip I would have about this is that that's okay to I think when you do have we had basically 36 hours together,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Um there is the temptation to put pressure on yourself and make it the most amazing thing you've ever done together and talk about every
Yep.
single thing. And
Right.
also that might even get into like being impressive to the other person.
Sure.
Um, and I think the less pressure you have on that, and so that's okay that we didn't talk about my kids to the extent that maybe you wanted or I wanted. It's all right. Like I think that we talked about a lot of cool stuff.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
and sometimes you just go with where the conversation goes. Obviously, our listeners know this about us. Like
Mm-hmm.
there's rabbit trails, and
Mm-hmm.
that's good. You follow them.
Totally. I think we have gotten to the point too where I did not feel pressure to impress you at all.
Awesome.
I was like,
Me neither.
Steven. You know what I mean? I actually really love that when
Yep.
you're when you have developed a friendship
Mm-hmm.
That we know the warts. I mean, it's
Yeah.
clearly that way with Aaron and Jessica too. They've
Mm-hmm.
seen the human body, just
Well, certainly.
just aging.
I mean, what do I have to prove anymore?
They
Who
know
am
it
I
all.
trying to impress? Especially when it comes to her.
It's
I've
like
stopped being impressive a long time ago.
that's why I told you when we watched Thor, I was just like, oh man, that's what a man looks like, and look at me.
I I think it helps that the two of us have also been through a journey of trying to eradicate that from our lives together.
Yeah. Oh
Like
yeah.
we have had
Yep.
so many conversations about comparison, who is impressing who, not only on the podcast but off the podcast. But I do
Yeah.
think that it's significant that the podcast exists
Mm-hmm.
because we've worked on that together live in
Yep.
front of thousands of people, basically. And so when we get
Yeah.
together, it's nice that it actually is.
Mm-hmm. There's not a sizing up or like
No.
uh a feeling of I haven't seen you in 18 months, and here's all the things I've done. Dang it, this sounds very self-congratulatory, but
No, I was thinking about
I'm just
that, bro.
I'm
Like,
proud of
is
that, I
this
guess. I don't know.
the, I was thinking about that when it comes to this podcast in general. When we talk about things that we've actually grown in,
Mm,
my hope is that it's motivating to people that it's possible because we are very broken people
mm-hmm.
that
Mm-hmm.
have had to work really hard on these things. But sometimes,
Yep.
dude, when I hear an older person who's like, I'm better than I used to be at that. That's
Mm,
so motivating to me that it's
mm,
possible. I think a lot of times we think,
totally.
I am who I am and the world is what it is and it's never going to get better. So why even try? But I
Yeah.
do think we put work into this.
A
And
ton of work. Yeah.
when we're together and it actually is refreshing
Mm-hmm.
instead of like draining because we're always trying to impress each other and we're comparing ourselves to each other and we're
Yeah.
not getting to everything we wanted to get to. And so we leave sad and mad. This didn't feel that way to me.
Yeah. It was awesome.
That's
It's
good.
yeah, it's like again when I hear the next generation of people like John Ortberg talking about getting together with his buddies,
Yeah.
it sounds like a similar thing
Mm-hmm. Yep.
where like there's so I'm inspired by I don't know that he was talking about on his show how every year or something like that he and a group of guys get together
Yeah.
and they get this cabin for a week. I mean, that's kind of
Mm-hmm.
a classic thing. We
Sure.
have not done that as a crew, although we have kind of
That's
like
true.
we maybe it's because we don't have tons of money or just don't prioritize it or
And
uh
our schedules are hard to meet up.
schedules.
Now, when we are
Yeah.
together in person, we go out, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's good. That's a priority of ours. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, it's kind of inspiring to think about, to hear from a guy like John Ortberg who has what, 20 years on us, maybe
Mm-hmm.
more,
Yep.
that he makes that a priority. And I even have that in as one of my tips is that phone is fine, Zoom is cool, but IRL
Yep.
is you you probably need to work harder to make that happen. Uh, but it's just sometimes it's just better, and sometimes you need to move things around. I mean, I knew I had to do this thing with my car.
Yep.
I had to fly up and get a car and drive it back down. I was gonna do that 2 weeks previous to when you were there,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, yeah, but Anthony's there. So what if I just move some things around,
Yep.
made this work, so that we could be together in real life? It took effort, but it was worth it.
Yeah. You know what? I have not thanked you on the podcast for that. I am really honored that you did that and that also that your creative mind thought of that. And so that's really, really cool. So thanks for doing that. That
Well,
was a
yeah.
highlight.
I
Yeah.
mean, I'm not just saying this in the Chick-fil-A way. Like, it was my pleasure. Like, my word of the year is generous and
Mm-hmm.
generosity. And I've been
Yep.
thinking about how can I live my life more generously with my time, with my schedule, with my money, with my energy, with my friendship. And so this was a way for me to say, this was the plan. And you know me,
Yep.
plan is king, schedule, calendar is king.
Yep.
But maybe I make a change generously for the sake of a relationship. And so
Yep.
that was it was really fun for me to do and a way for me to live out my word.
Sweet.
And I write my word out every single day in my
Wow.
Clear Habit Journal. At the bottom, my mission statement, be like Jesus. I've add generous. I say a man of generous love.
Mm.
And so if I can actually do that thing that's written down, that's a win for everybody, I think, because then I can feel like, okay, I did it.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, we should continue to make this commitment. We've talked about
Mm-hmm.
this on the phone, but we got to get together at least once a year to do something.
Yep. Yep.
Because it's a thing where I heard you have 19 years with your kid.
Oh,
So it's
yeah.
like 18 years
Yeah.
together, and then 1 year equivalent for the rest of their lives,
Oh my god.
which is
Yeah,
like,
you said this and it's depressing, especially because I'm feeling it right now.
you know,
I
but
think for some kids it starts even earlier. We'll just say that.
sure.
Yeah.
But what I'm thinking is we probably have 40 years left. Who knows?
Of life.
Of life.
Mm-hmm.
And so that means, dude, does that mean we have 40 days left to hang out?
40 days
Maybe
and 40
80?
nights.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe something like that.
Or maybe once we're empty nesters, which crazy you guys are around the corner from.
Yeah.
But maybe in older age we'll be able to do trips or do cool stuff or whatever.
Yeah, I
Bucket list
wonder about
items.
that with folks in middle age, especially who don't have kids or whose kids have what is the term? Fled the coop? That's not right. Flown the coop.
Yeah.
If actually this kind of thing, getting together with friends, gets easier. Now that's interesting because it'll get easier for me 10 years before it gets easier for you.
Right.
But that might be okay, right? Like, there's also kind of a geographic reality. We live so far away from each other.
Right.
And so Alex, when he moved out to the West, now it's 6.5 hours door to door driving.
That's so
for us.
Cool. Yep.
We see each other twice a year. And
awesome.
and that hasn't been true of us for basically since I went to college, that we would see each other in person twice a year. But just that geographical move has made that easier. And I can't do that with Hack or Chad. Right. It's just that's the 30-hour drive. I can't do that with you. It's the same thing. So, but effort, I think, can be made and should be made. And I want to say that out loud to people that are even listening, that there's just something different about being in the same physical space with a person.
Amen, dude. Can't share a Papa Murphy's and burn one of them and cook perfectly the other one if you're not in the same space. I guess maybe you could both order a Papa Murphy's online. And but then
one person is the designated burner. But you can't put those pieces of Papa Murphy's pizza into a plastic bag and eat them on the top of a mountain together. If you're not in the same space.
That tasted so good, dude.
You can't just see a wayward pepperoni that isn't yours on the way up that mountain and kind of just sit there stunned. Whose pepperoni was that? And why?
Yep. Salvador Dali left his pepperoni on the top of Broken Top Mountain outside of Bend, Oregon.
Back Oregon. Salvador Dali's ghost is eating pepperoni pizza walking up this mountain. All right, dude. Well, we should head into the what's giving us life this week.
All right, let's do it. Great. All right, let's clap.
Okay.
1, 2, 3, clap.
Clap. 1, 2, 3, clap.
Clap. All right, we can keep this one quick.
Okay, great. All right. What's giving us life this week? Anthony, I started the baby step. You start this one.
Okay.
What gave you life this past week?
All right. So I don't know
or
the exact
previous.
date when this episode is coming out, but we just this past weekend celebrated Isla's 8th birthday.
Oh yeah, I got some pics of this.
Yeah, and we had so much fun.
Uh-huh.
And so I talked about a couple months ago about Great Wolf Lodge, how fun that
Right.
was.
Water
Uh,
slides. Yeah.
yep, you know,
Mm-hmm.
just you're always looking for fun things to do with your kids that aren't
Yeah.
screen related,
Right.
that are adventures, and so I don't we on Highway 285 in Atlanta, which is the
Mm-hmm.
perimeter of
Mm-hmm.
Atlanta. They're just outside of it, right by the Braves Stadium, Truist
Yeah.
Park, is this thing called iFly, which
Oh yeah.
is indoor skydiving.
Super tall building.
Yup. Tall building with kind of a funky shape.
Uh-huh. Yep.
And we've driven by it now for 6 years. And
Yeah.
something
This is a chain, I think.
it is. I bet you there's one in Phoenix.
We've done it. I just can't remember if it was iFly.
Okay. Sure. Oh, maybe it's changed names or uh
But it's certainly something like that. Something pithy, right?
yep. And I don't know what the inception of Isla, like where the idea came from, if it was just seeing it all the time and she asked about it, or if a friend went. I don't remember
Right.
that exactly, but she said for my 8th birthday I want to go indoor skydiving.
Yeah.
Because we're like, okay, that sounds amazing, let's look into
Yep.
it.
Yeah.
It is pricey.
Yeah, it's
it's
expensive. Now,
it's
it's more
pricey.
expensive now than it was when we did it, I guess 10 or 12 years ago.
Sure.
Sounds like maybe twice as much now.
Yeah.
Inflation.
Well, so and there's that's not a problem. Birthday, like it's like, of course we'll do something super fun.
Spare no expense.
Spare no expense. Although you can invite 2 friends to this birthday
No,
party.
no, we are going to spare some expense
Right.
by drastically limiting how many people you can invite to this
Right.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah. And she is totally cool with that.
Yep.
As honestly any kid, because you're like, we could go to a park and do a pizza party, or we could have
Mm-hmm.
friends over, or we can go do this really fun thing, but less people are going to be able to come. She's like, yes,
Okay. That's
100%.
really interesting. So she made that decision. I'd
Oh
rather
yeah.
do this really life-giving thing. She wouldn't have used those words, of course, but this thing I
Right.
really, really want to do that's kind of once in a lifetime with two
Yeah.
friends rather than
Yep.
have a big party.
Dude, speaking of hanging with a friend.
There we go. Yeah.
So we went, her 2 best buddies and her big sister, who's her
Mm-hmm.
other best buddy, of course.
Mm-hmm.
And so Aaron and I didn't get to do it because it's like you can get a family pack, or you can get a multiple flights
Sure.
for, whatever. So the other moms came plus Aaron and then me, of course.
Yeah.
And it was just so fun.
Mm.
They had an absolute blast. And it's hilarious because it was all adults except for Isla and her 2 friends and Lily's, and she's turning 8, so she's tiny, especially
Yeah.
compared to an adult. And they wear these like flight suits.
Those flight suits looked so funny and
I know,
cute and great.
they're so cute. They have a helmet. They're fully covered with this,
Yep.
Jumpsuit,
Goggles.
and yeah, goggles and so, anyways, they get in the thing,
Mm-hmm.
and for an extra fee, you can pay to have the instructor fly them all the way to the top.
Yep.
So first of all, they just do the thing around.
It's spinning
and then-
around. Yep.
Yep. But then the last hurrah is they go crazy, super high, and
Wow.
they get to do this a couple times, and they're
Yep.
in a whole crew. But it was just a really, really fun thing. They immediately want to do it as soon as possible again.
Mm-hmm.
And this is not a paid advertisement. We are a podcast, but I just wanted to say this was super fun, and
Yep.
totally recommend it.
Yeah. iFly is so fun. So what happened with us was I went skydiving, remember? Like
Mhm.
actually skydiving.
Yep.
And the boys were jealous, and so we did the iFly.
Okay.
And that like scratched the itch.
Sure.
But I'm wondering what will happen now that it's been flipped. The
Mhm.
girls have experienced this. I'm sure someday they're gonna want to go actually skydiving.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, that's what Lily says she wants for her 18th birthday, because when she turns
Okay.
18, I'll be turning 50.
Oh, right. We've talked
And
about this. Yeah.
We've been like, that's when we're gonna do it together. And Isla's like, and I want to do it too. So we'll have to wait because I think you have to be
Yeah, I think you might be right.
18.
Yep.
But with iFly, there are also these different packages where if you can train. So they had a couple other little kids in there that do solo flights.
Yeah.
And dude, like it looked really fun
Okay.
because these kids are doing flips and
All
bouncing
right.
around all. It was just one kid. Like she
Okay.
looked probably 10 or 12. Yeah, maximum. And she could do her own solo flights. That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's almost like they put her in there right before they went, just to be like, if you come weekly,
If you pay enough money,
yep,
you could be this person.
This could
Definitely.
be you.
Yeah. Yep.
But anyways, it was really fun.
That's awesome. I'll do a movie recommendation.
Okay.
So a couple nights ago, I was like, I've wanted to watch Still for a long time. Do you know what Still is? It's the
No.
Michael J. Fox documentary on Apple
Oh.
TV.
I have not even heard of it.
And it is so good.
Wow.
You and Aaron would adore it.
Oh yeah,
because of your documentary love.
Our documentaries,
So if you're not convinced already, the way that they make this movie is he's being interviewed, he's telling his story from the start to now, probably 90 minutes. But what they do is they splice in scenes from his movies to kind of flesh out his story.
Wow.
Of course, tons of Back to the Future stuff. Like tons of Family Ties stuff.
Secret of My Success.
Secret of My Success.
Did it make it in there?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Because Secret of My Success, which I still have only seen the first half of, was
on
still
our list
like
to do together.
Right, exactly. Oh no, we didn't do it. We didn't watch the last half of Secret to My Success with the $. Secret to My Success was still when he was like superstar.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Remember, it was top box office, even though it's not a great movie.
No. And there are a lot of, and he talks about this, there are a lot of that kind of thing for him. Like he didn't really hit huge besides Back to the Future. And I guess Secret of My Success and Teen Wolf, I guess. And movies were not his thing. And he even talks about how eventually he went back to TV with Spin City and stuff like that. But there is it's not just a talking head documentary. It's really well done. It is made for us.
Okay, yeah.
People that love the 80s and 90s and love Michael J. Fox. Okay. And dude, I was bawling at the end.
Really? Oh, dang.
Yes.
Okay.
Sweet. I mean, it's sad. It's hard to see him so sick. Right? But remember on Curb, which they show some of,
yeah,
where he just has such a sense of humor about it. Now this documentary, you're let into his life and how hard it is on him.
Okay.
But you're laughing and laughing most of the movie, and it's also hard to see. And then he's so hopeful at the end, and I was like, just tears streaming down my face at the end of it.
Dang.
Beautiful final shot. So Still, that's on Apple TV. Michael J. Fox documentary gave me a lot of life a couple nights ago.
Wow. That's great. I love it.
Yeah.
We'll check it out.
It's an easy one for you to recommend to Aaron. I mean, it's right in your wheelhouse.
Oh, she'll be down.
Yeah, it would be great for you to watch on a Sabbath night or something.
Sounds great.
All right. Well, we love hearing people's what's giving you life, baby steps, ideas for cores. The best way, Nation, to contact us is to follow us on Instagram. There you can find our link tree in the bio, the newly updated link tree with all things Gomers. You can call us on the Gomer phone. That number is
608-622-7669. That's 608 NBA Pony.
Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe or follow us on whatever podcast app you're listening to right now. Thank you to Davis for our music, Jason and Eric for our graphics, Adam, our webmaster, Annie, our social media guru, and of course, our Gomertrons, who subscribe to our second podcast, The Bonus Disc, on Patreon. That's not only the home of our monthly movie show, Perfect Movie, where we just covered Speed and Pee-wee's Big Adventure, but extra episodes like this summer's Indiana Jones ranking. Speaking of Indiana Jones, it's the mileage. It's not the miles, honey. Oh, no, it's not the years, honey. It's the mileage. This summer, Steven's tour through the Star Trek Generation universe, live to tape episodes of our trip, like we mentioned before, and much, much more, up to 4 episodes per month, depending on what level you subscribe. All that and more is at patreon.com/2gomers. We welcome your support and we thank you.
Awesome, dude. Well, I look forward to the next time we hang out, maybe in Arizona next time.
Let's do it. Also, hi, Rose.
Rose, what's up?
I know Rose is listening. That's why I'm saying hi, Rose, and hi, her family. And thank you for hosting me for free at their really cool cabin by that incredible river.
Yep.
Great food, great fun, great games. We also tried Ultimate Coke. Hi, Sasha.
Hi, Sasha, too. And Richard, of course, but he's not
hi,
listening.
Richard. Yeah, Richard doesn't listen. Self-proclaimed non-listener. Almost proud of that, it seemed like to me.
Oh, yeah, he's a Luddite. I mean, he would say that. A flip phone user.
Yeah.
Just anti all that stuff.
We tried Ultimate Coke, which is the new Coke flavor. We took video of it. I'll post that for 13.1ers.
Okay, yeah. Put it on our YouTube.
That's one of the things I don't know if it's actually funny or we just found it funny, but I thought it was funny.
Yeah, it was cool.
Yeah.
Actually, it was fun.
Kind, fun, and funny. It was great. Do you know what that is? Kind, fun, and funny. I don't remember who it was, but it was somebody in middle school running for student body president. I wish I remembered who it was. Alex. He would remember. And the posters were the picture of the kid and underneath it said kind, fun, and funny.
That's great. Chad's was don't be had, vote for Chad. I was
and that motto brought him all the way to homecoming king in his senior year.
Right.
All right, dude. Great app.
Super fun, man. And remember, everybody, if we can do this, if we can go spend a little bit extra time and a little extra money to hang out with our friends in real life and talk about lots of deep stuff and perfectly cook a Papa Murphy's pizza, you can too.
And happy running.
All right, let's stop that. 1, 2, 3, stop.
Right. Great app.
Nice. Let's take 2 minutes to bounce and then let's do this.
I gotta go pee.
Yeah, me too.
Oh, bye everybody.
Oh, oops.